G'day, g'day. We are away. I'm just going to introduce this handsome man. His name is Matthew Forrester, Big Matty, who heads up our SEO pay-per-click here at 5 by 5. And we are talking SEO, but more specifically, the tremendous change that is happening in the world of SEO. Matt, how you going?
Good, mate. Yeah, on my toes. Thanks, Google.
On the toes. We're here to talk SEO and just how quickly things are evolving. We have the unique privilege and opportunity at the coalface to actually see what's happening from a real world data perspective. We report on 150 or so SEO accounts on a monthly basis, and we can see what's happening with the search results and how things are evolving. So really, what we wanted to do was do an educational piece on that today in terms of what we're seeing, and then really some actionable stuff around how businesses can stay relevant, visible, and ultimately get the best bang for buck from an SEO perspective. So a bit of a nerdy sort of SEO centric joke here in the fact that businesses spend 10 years building domain authority, which is like your presence or your authority there in the eyes of Google, and then ChatGPT just comes in 5 seconds, summarizes that in one sentence and doesn't even attribute you. So that's probably a bit of a nerdy sort of cynical way of looking at that. But it's not all doom and gloom. So that's what we're gonna run through today, Matt. Um, Search used to be simple. You'd go to Google, you'd punch in your question, you'd get your 10 links there, maybe some sponsored links in there as well. You click through to a website, you find your answer, maybe you pick up the phone and get in touch. Um, Super easy, but it's a little bit more complicated now. So what's happening is, and we're seeing this not only on the Google search results. So these are the AI insights that are powered by Google's product Gemini, but also tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity. They're functioning as these research layers now. So I know myself, my best friend Chat, who knows all my deepest, darkest secrets and fears and wants and desires and everything that I've punched into that over the last bunch of years. Um, it knows me pretty well. So really, these tools are becoming gatekeepers of information, and your content, your business's content needs to earn its way into their responses. Um, Putting my business owner hat on, we're generating leads off the back of ChatGPT, which is really, really exciting. And this is just in the last 60 days. These are some leads that have come through. This is our website briefing form where people fill out and get in touch. And you can see here we ask, what encouraged you to reach out and get in touch. And you can see ChatGPT is a big driver of that, which is pretty awesome. Um, so what we're going to do, Matt, we're going to run through a couple of sort of real world examples of what we think the user journey looks like. And we're going to jump into ChatGPT here. So we were workshopping this morning. And Matt is just for everyone on the call, Matt is a very proud homeowner who just loves a well manicured lawn. And I can appreciate that. Like there's a great
Mine
sense
was
of
yesterday.
pride and pleasure that comes from an amazing lawn. But unfortunately, Matt's got a problem in his life. Matt, what's wrong?
There's a wet spot, mate, right there in the middle of my lawn.
Okay, so we got a wet spot on your lawn, and we've just told ChatGPT that. Um, Now, ChatGPT has come back and it's cited some common reasons why a wet spot may exist on your lawn, and then some troubleshooting in terms of how you can check that. and then ultimately what to do next. Um, but Matt, like we've been experiencing some wonderful Gold Coast weather, and it literally hasn't rained here for a bunch of weeks. The sun's been shining every single day. Um, so you've given ChatGPT that feedback. What's it come back with next?
So yeah, it asked me, it said, "Do you have any extra information for me?" I say, yeah, it's been there for 2 days. It isn't raining, so obviously there's something else going on. ChatGPT proceeds to tell me some other ways I can sort of troubleshoot it. Maybe there's an irrigation system.
Mm,
Should I check my water meter? Is it still going up even though it's off? I can step on the area, see if it feels squishy or muddy. It definitely does. So what does that mean? It means there's probably a leak. What should I do next? Well, ChatGPT recommends maybe a plumber and it offers to give me some plumber recommendations. It then says, "Are you on the Gold Coast?" Yeah, I am based on the Gold Coast, chat. Can you recommend some for me? And here we go.
cool. And then this is where some local businesses are listed. And this first business just happens to be a client of ours, DCM Plumbing. They're just here in Burley. Awesome business, like amazing, just track record, 1,400 five-star Google reviews. So you can see here, it's listed some suggested businesses and with links out to each of those respective pages. And you actually see, if I click on that link, that would go to the leak detection page um, on their website. Um, so then what sort of leads us through what you should do now, some booking tips, and then would you like some assistance in contacting one of them? So we said yes, both please. So then it summarized the information, which is really, really helpful.
Mhm.
And then also given a checklist, what to do before the visit, questions to ask, which is super duper helpful.
Mhm.
Um, and then that's the chat. So pretty cool how it sort of guided us through that from a local perspective. Anything else to sort of add to that, Matt?
The other part I would probably highlight is just the USPs as well. So it
Hmm.
doesn't only give you options, which is probably a point of difference from Google search results. It doesn't just sort of list them, it also sort of
Yeah,
provide recommendations. Like for example, with the DCM one, it says that, they're available for emergency water leaks and stuff like that.
yep,
It's only saying that because we have that content there on the website. So
cool.
it's just an example of how, I guess, AEO, or probably more so GEO in this instance, sort of comes into play.
Okay. And that's a really good lead in then into the contrasting solution of say using Google and you gave this sort of great analogy this morning where I'll let you describe the analogy, Matt.
Yeah, I guess if you were to compare the pair, Google or traditional search results is kind of like opening a catalog and sort of seeing a list of who you can choose from. So you're already in that sort of buying mindset, or you need that service.
Mm.
Whereas if you're using ChatGPT or something like that, it's going to lead you down a little bit of a rabbit hole. It's more like talking to a friend or a conversation where they recommend someone somewhere along the line because you've said these things. It can recommend things based on that.
Yeah. So we're here on the catalog, which is Google. Um, and you can see here the search phrase that I've used, who's the best plumber on the Gold Coast? So like maybe the user journey was, yeah, I've got a leak. I needed help diagnosing how this leak's happened. And then I go to Google and I say, well, all right, I know I need a plumber. Who's the best plumber on the Gold Coast? And then that's then where we get these AI overviews. And they typically show up in any sort of question-based query. You can see the DCM's listed there. It provides a link to their website. And then you also have links over here on the right-hand side, of which DCM is also listed there.
Mhm.
And you get a cross section there. And then you get the standard sort of search results that, and interestingly, Reddit is showing up a lot in these sort of question-based ones. And then you've got your GBPs, and then all the other sort of organic listings. So um, that's the sort of evolution in terms of the Google search engine results page. Um, just using sort of one of those examples. So what we're really describing here is this answer engine optimization. So, what are some of those? What are some key tactics, Matt, that we need to be doing as business owners to increase the likelihood of us getting found through chat or through any of these different AI tools?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, I guess I'd probably start by highlighting that AEO or answers like this have probably been around for a little while with like the snippets like that.
Yep.
People also ask features and stuff like that in SERPs. So it's not too traditional or too far away from traditional SEO. We still need to be super clear and concise, answer those specific questions. You
Mhm.
can boost it up with your structured data and schema and stuff like that. And
Yep.
yeah, sort of establishing yourself as the expert with that topical authority, internal linking, and I guess the bottom point there is probably really helpful in the terms of ChatGPT and new content and stuff like that. You need to stand out from the crowd and build genuine good content that is
Yeah.
helpful and not just fluff, not creating content for the sake of creating it, but to provide actual value to readers.
Yeah, I think that's the key there. Like the just build good quality content. Like the fundamental premise hasn't changed in, 20 years of doing this. So it's just good, useful, helpful content. It's just the tools and the process that's changed. Um, so Matt, big question. Is search dead? Like, are you out there looking for plumbing jobs?
Not just yet, mate.
No?
One day, but no, I think search isn't dead. If anything, it's probably more alive than ever.
Okay.
In a way, we've just kind of got another tool to add to our tool belt now. It's not a wrench or spanner or anything like that just yet. It's just another way of sort of harnessing SEO to sort of generate more leads for clients.
Yep. And what are some of the key points that we got to keep in mind?
Well, the first top two there are probably a little bit similar, and that's just a nice high-performing website.
Hmm.
I like to think of ChatGPT or even the Google spiders and stuff like that. They're like mathematicians in that it's lazy. If you make it hard for them to go through and read your content or traverse across the pages or anything like that, it's not going to worry about it. You're not going to rank well. You're not going to get grabbed for these answers. If you
Yeah.
make it really easy, super easy to crawl, super easy to understand, you're more likely to get up there. And again, great human first content with that.
Yeah, and all this, like, still websites to this date, their home base, if it's slow, if it's technically poor, if it's broken, none of this matters because it won't get indexed, it won't get scanned. So we need to make sure all the technical fundamentals are there. Matt, can't I just submit my content to ChatGPT?
Not quite, not yet. It takes a long time. Just with SEO, it's just a lot of nurturing and getting there.
Cool. All right. So, but we can influence how ChatGPT or these other tools reference the content. Um, so, like, really, like, what we want to do now is provide some more actionable things. It's like, how do we actually make the website more AI referenceable, so that it ultimately these tools are looking for concise, accurate, helpful answers. Just talk us through some of the key points here.
Sort of similar to that last one with GPT being lazy. Make sure your website's super, super clear. Use correct headings and stuff like that. H1 at the top is your number one. After that, it's just
Mhm.
look at a page, and if you can skim it and get key takeaways, you're on the right sort of step.
Yeah.
By skimming it, that sort of means, we've all done it. Before Cliff Notes and stuff like that was a popular thing. You'd just try and read
Mhm.
the first sort of part of the chapter and try and get an idea for how the rest would go.
Yep.
Same thing for making your website AI referenceable.
Yeah, cool. 12-year-olds are pretty smart nowadays. I have a 12-year-old. He is very clever and very technically savvy. So, but really, like, I think from a content perspective, making sure there's depth there, the intro as well. Yeah, really it's short, punchy, and we'll actually show you an example of what that looks like. The other point here, and this is sort of probably getting a little bit more technical, but structured data schema. Just talk us through that, Matt.
Yeah, so this is kind of like a little cheat code for sort of referencing things to Google or search engines and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's just sort of instead of relying on your content to speak for itself, you can indicate to Google what it is. There's some examples there like FAQs, how-tos, and stuff like that.
Yep.
The people who do it best, probably like recipe websites, they can tell Google that this is a recipe, you can structure it as a recipe so that when someone looks up how to make lasagna or something like that, it displays it exactly like it is on the website so someone can quickly make that lasagna. Though I'm
Mhm.
not going to make lasagna quickly, but yeah.
Yeah. Um, so then there's actually a tool that Google provide. We'll just show you this. This verifies the schema data. So us as website designers, we're the ones that are coding this in. And to give you an example, this is actually on the DCM website. That's that leak detection page that we're referring to. They've got some information around structured products. There's breadcrumbs, which is like a navigational item. And then they've got reviews. So if we can make it nice and easy for the crawlers to identify the information, they're more than likely to take notice of that and index that in their databases.
Yeah, exactly right. And the review snippets and stuff like that in particular make it really easy to compete online too. So if
Mm,
you were, Google best plumber on the Gold Coast like you had before, the ones that are going to stand out are the ones that actually have 1,000+ star ratings that are actually
yep.
showing up, which is what those schemas are just so good for.
Cool. Then we talk about topical authority. Obviously, these tools want to cite what they deem as expert content. Can you just talk us through that, Matt?
Yeah, for sure. So I guess this one's like, how do you prove to a robot that you're an expert? It doesn't know that you've got a degree or anything like that unless you tell it, or without proving that you have, so much knowledge on this. So you provide 10 blogs around, such a similar topic. Like in DCM's example, the reason that they can rank so well for a leak detection page, or because how GPT recommends them as masters in leak detection is because they have a library of articles explaining everything plumbing so that Google knows essentially that they are the best people to recommend. So that's what topical authority is.
Yeah, cool. And a lot of that comes back to um, the siloing of content, the structure, the architecture, how each of the pages are categorized. Maybe there's either services or products in terms of, this sort of grouping of, grandparent, parent, child structures. Because if we ultimately silo it together, make it really clear around what each sort of specific or topic or grouping is around, then it's super easy for these bots to understand the content. And then as part of that is the domain authority and backlinks, which is still relevant, right? And this is what we've been doing for years or basically this is the fundamental premise in terms of how Google was founded around page rank, and domain authority. Um, so what do you got to say about domain authority and backlinks, Matt?
Domain authority is one of them tricky ones, I think, when we sort of reference it to clients. It is sort of hard to sort of explain. But essentially, it's kind of like a website vouching for you. So,
Mm,
say, for example, you've built out that really reputable silo of content. Everyone sort of acknowledges you're the expert. They start linking to you as that. If they have an article that's semi-related to leak detection, they might reference DCM and say, hey, these guys know this, you should read more at DCM. The more people that vouch for DCM, the more people referencing them, GPT sees that or Google sees that more so,
yep.
and helps sort of rank them ahead of the pack.
Yeah, cool. And how you see this playing out is in like review websites, directories, news articles, roundup summary style, articles and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So, and an example of that is Reddit, which we'll show you as well. So, yeah, obviously the more footprint and presence you've got out there, the better, and the social signals that it'll send. Which is lead into this AI mentions. Just talk us through if someone hasn't heard of Perplexity, what is Perplexity, Matt?
Perplexity is pretty similar to GPT.
Yep.
It's another LLM, but it has some added functionality that GPT doesn't have as easily.
Hmm.
Just sort of built in to sort of see how your brand is being referenced. There's another few options there, Bing Chat, Gemini, GPT to cite sources. You can actually ask it how it referenced things.
Yeah.
Another one we haven't listed here as well, and it might be just for the nerds in the crowd, but you can actually export your website, like the raw access data,
Hmm.
and you can feed that through to ChatGPT to sort of get it to analyze how many GPT hits you actually get on it.
Yeah. So this is an example of that query in GPT. What's the best plumber in the Gold Coast? And where did you learn that? So then that's then where it gives you as a business owner gives you those insights in and around Google reviews. So obviously that's a massive, massive social proof signal. Um, so yeah, they're all the sort of different questions that you can be asking to see where it's getting its signals from. Um, so, Matt, do we need to like go and completely throw out our website and start again?
No, I think probably the key takeaway from all of those previous slides is that the fundamentals are all the same, right? It's just something extra that we can keep building on. So whether that means more content or more of that sort of referencing on new websites like Reddit and forums and stuff like that,
Mhm.
it's just something additional that we can add now.
Yeah, cool. So, what we've put together is a couple of actionable items. Um, so, if you've got an existing website using Google Analytics GA4, you can actually go through and you can see which are my five most top trafficked pages, and they'll typically be your homepage, and then maybe like well, probably your about page, but then some service-based pages in there as well. Um, so that's where, if I was in your position, looking at service or product-based pages, what should we do, Matt?
Yeah, pretty much the previous slides, I'd start actioning those, and we've just sort of summarized them here. So make sure your content's super clear, easy to read, skimmable. Um,
Mhm.
there's a few tools you can use to sort of help do that. I think when you write the content yourself, it makes it hard to sort of tell if it's hard to read or not. So feed it to something like Hemingway. It's just an online editor you can use to sort of check the readability score of the content.
Mm.
And then, yeah, answer real questions your customers ask. So FAQs, long tail keywords, and if you've got your boots in the ground and you're actually talking to your clients or your customers,
Yeah.
find those trends in what people are asking. A lot of the time, you'll hear it in person before it'll show up on tools like SEMrush and Ahrefs.
Hmm.
And then after that, yeah, make it super easy to skim with the heading lists and summaries, and then actually include those internal links to related pages or products. So similar to how that GPT thread earlier said, do you want me to check this out next, or are you interested in this? Make it easy on your website to find those related threads. So if you have one page that's doing really well, you can then take them to a page that you maybe want to push forward just as well, or the actual related service to maybe if it's a blog article.
Yeah, cool. Cool. So start there, chip away. Probably the other thing would be then this sort of offsite um, action that you can take where it's being present in places where the AI bots actually look. So that's around really like posting helpful, relevant content, channels such as Reddit. Like we actually saw there in those search results with the plumber example. Um, in all of this, like if you're a business owner, like you're not there just shamelessly like flying your flag. Like I think there's useful, helpful ways to actually go and like answer questions. So you can say, I'm the owner of DCM and I'm a qualified plumber and based on when we have this problem or whatever, then you can go and, answer a question and all that sort of stuff. So there's subtle ways of being able to still um, make your presence known and still help be useful and helpful out there in the world. Same deal with YouTube, same deal with, LinkedIn articles, all that sort of stuff. any other sort of Q&A sites, industry forums. Like there's just so many platforms out there. And I think the more places you show up, the more chances you've got to be part of that conversation.
Mhm.
Um, so if we're sort of rounding it out, um, in summary, we want to be cited by the AI answers. So that's really about being that trusted voice, as we're talking about. Do you want to talk about like AI agents and where you sort of see that evolving to potentially, Matt?
Yeah, I think the AI agents are probably similar to that thread before as well, just in the sense that you might not end up getting those clicks that you would have traditionally.
Mm,
You do have those actions taking place. So someone might need to open that catalog or browse for that jacket or whatever they're looking to buy because they have these AI agents sort of helping them. So, it's kind of feeding them the next steps that they need to take.
yeah,
They don't really need to do it at all.
yeah. And then I think that's the shift around this is where, so look, definitely in some of our clients' accounts, we're seeing traffic declining, but um, it's not about traffic, which potentially is more of the vanity metric. It's about the quality of the traffic and then the outcomes from a conversion perspective as well. So as long as we're still converting people, like that's the number one metric that we should really be honed in and focused on.
Mhm.
Um, Mass visibility. And I know that it's just like another thing to do out there in the world. That's why people like us, I guess, exist to be able to go and do that on behalf of businesses, and really just making sure that businesses are able to leverage their footprint and be where the AI is pulling their signals and content from. Structured data and clarity. So that's just having good home base, well structured, well organized, fast, technically amazing, all that sort of stuff. Um, and then, as I said before, just real results, not just clicks. It's about measuring the conversion rate and that ROI on effort and spend.
Yeah, definitely. And just on mass visibility as well, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to hop on Reddit and start commenting on threads or hop on Facebook or Instagram, anything like that. If you've got really, really solid content, people are going to reference it when they're looking to back up what they're saying.
Yeah.
Someone asks for help, someone else might say, "Hey, I've seen this blog on DCM's website. Check it out here." So you kind of get that visibility organically by providing good content on your own website.
I'll just give you my sort of parting shots. And it's what I said before. It's just, it really comes back to just content. And this hasn't changed. Like, I'm going to sound very old here, Matt, but I'm coming up to 20 years in this business in January next year. Um, and it's always been about the content. And I think this is just a different way of skinning it. Useful, helpful content solves people's problems, structure it well, be consistent. Consistency is key, like most things in life. Um, Create the content, create value, solve people's problems. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, kind of similar to the metaphor before for me. Yeah, traditional search engines like catalogs, they're always going to be there. People are always going to have a buying mindset, and when they have it, they're going to go to Google. They're going to look for what they're looking for, right? LLMs and other AI tools like ChatGPT and Gemini and stuff, they're like conversations. Like you mentioned before, John, it's like your best mate. It knows your deepest, darkest secrets about you, and it's going to help recommend things based on that. And that's where having that content on your website is going to help you get referenced by everyone's new best friend, ChatGPT. And then the next one there, ranking and AI shares fundamentals with SEO. It just means we need to go a little bit deeper. So
Mhm.
the fundamentals are the same. And at the end of the day, it just comes down to providing good content, having a good, high functioning website, and just keeping at it. Just keep on doing what you're doing and improving on it every day.
Cool. Hey, Blaze asked a really cool question. When using an AI phone agent, does GPT or similar learn the questions your business gets asked via the voice AI, therefore increase rankings for web traffic and search results?
It's a little bit of a tricky one. It would depend on how it's sort of set up or integrated
Yeah.
into. your rhythm there, I think, just reading it. Um, I think indirectly, potentially, but it would probably take a little bit of nurturing from your own process, sort of feeding it through and then using it for your own workflow.
I guess that it'd probably just be understanding how the tech stack's actually put together. Um, like I know, so we all use paid versions of GPT. Um, I've specifically got that setting turned off that is informing the larger model in and around the stuff that we're working on.
Mm.
If you're using the free account, that is by default how that that model grows. Um, so yeah, it's a bit of a grey one. Not too sure, Blaze, how we answer that, but
Just might need a bit more info, I think.
yeah. And then we've got another question. Thoughts utilize Google Notebook LM in improving how we produce our own content. Have you played with that, Matt?
Yeah, yeah, have played with a few of them now. I think at the end of the day, when you're sort of working with it, there isn't going to be one that will rank better. I don't think any specific tool or anything like that will automatically produce content that's going to have better ranking signals than others. The biggest trick I would use when doing it is sit down and read it, like try not to skim it when you're doing it. And if it makes sense to you, if it provides honest value, and if it stands out from existing content that is already ranking well, you're probably going to be fine.
Yeah. Just it is easy to get lazy with content, isn't it? In terms of the scanning and the creation of that
100%.
content.
And I think
Um,
if you've got a piece of content you've had on your website for a long time or one you've been working on a lot, it almost looks like it stops making sense. So maybe come back to it in a couple of days and read
mm.
it.
But I think that's going to be a real point of differentiation as well, where people are able to go super deep, and it's like the best human generated content is actually what's going to stand out the most, potentially.
Definitely.
Got another question. Can you be penalized for using ChatGPT content on your website? Excellent question.
I think our best mate John Mueller has said, look, ChatGPT content's fine as long as it's of value. Um, So essentially, don't just feed it a quick prompt and upload rubbish content. Google's pretty smart. It won't index it if it knows that someone's just going to get that same content 100 times
Yeah.
through different websites. Use unique insights, provide honest value, and use those people also ask sort of features like that. So
Mhm.
try and think of what the user would want to read next and include that.
And then finally, um, Big Sammy Horn is interested. Did Matt fix the wet spot in his lawn? Has that been resolved?
Might need to call DCM for that one.
DCM, get onto it. Get a get the plumbing crew out.
Just want to give a really big shout out to Jack Coburn, our senior strategist here at 5x5. If anyone wants to learn anything more about this, in addition to this PDF here, we've got an awesome blog on the website for you to read.
Love it. And that's actually another point which we will email each attendee this PDF data sheet, and there's a whole bunch more supplementary information that may be useful and helpful in regards to this topic. All right, that is it. Boom. I just wanted to use that we used the confetti effect, Matt.
Where's the mic drop, mate?
There we go. All right, mic drop. That's a wrap. Thanks, everyone. See you later.